Now, page 4, the moral responsibility to defy unjust, unfair, and unconstitutional edicts from government. It was Martin Luther King Jr. who used that constitutionally based axiom to lead this republic away from laws and leaders who inhibited liberty, freedom, equal protection, and ultimately God-given rights. And King was correct to do so. He defied radical politicians, and he stood his ground against prejudicial decrees that trampled on the constitutional rights of American citizens. Well, if MLK were alive today, then what would he say about forcing people to abandon their First Amendment rights, among other constitutional rights? What would King say about denying my right to assemble? I think MLK would not only be speaking out, but he'd be acting out through civil disobedience in open defiance of these unconstitutional decrees. Look at Los Angeles right now. The nutcase chief health officer just delivered a bombshell to Angelenos. If you're a resident of LA, then you can expect your constitutional rights to be suspended indefinitely. Indefinitely. Imagine that. On the 4th of July, in the nation's second largest city, a celebration of freedom for millions of fellow Americans while they are locked in their homes, under house arrest, and under martial law light. Happy Independence Day. Your liberty is now totally dependent on a guy named Newsom and another guy named Garcetti. So on July 4, 2020, 244 years after our founders spilled their blood to form this union under God with a soon-to-be Constitution, 10 million Americans will not be allowed to exercise their First Amendment rights. They will be denied due process and equal protection. Same thing for New York and New Jersey and other blue states, as well as some red states. This is a full-blown, 5-alarm constitutional nightmare that we're living through. Where is the resistance? There must be resistance. Well, it resides deep inside each and every patriotic American who can see the big constitutional picture here. These would be thinking Americans who understand that what Martin Luther King Jr. executed some 50-something years ago must be replicated right here, right now. This is our moment to risk it all for future Americans, right? Because it is our moral responsibility to defy unjust, unfair, and unconstitutional edicts from government. And this includes, especially includes, residents of New York, where political leadership is hell-bent on politically weaponizing COVID-19 in order to harm the re-election chances of Donald Trump. Right, Adriano Espiat?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Chairwoman Waters, for your steadfast support.
Stop tape. We haven't heard much from Max Watt. She's kind of been in hiding, except, of course, if you go onto her Twitter account, and except, of course, if you take a big, broad look at what's happening in Washington, D.C., and the Democrats, how they're destroying things, all constitutional. She's been in relative hiding. And if you check her Twitter account, of course, she's hammering the President of the United States on his COVID-19 response. What more do you think the President, any President of the United States, could do in terms of a federal response to a local problem? COVID-19 is a local problem. It is not a federal problem. And so the President of the United States delivered the masks that everybody was screaming for, the N95 mask. We have so many masks that we're giving them away to other countries, selling them, I hope, to other countries. And he responded for the cry for respirators. He didn't even have to use the act, the Defense Production Act. He didn't have to force companies to produce these ventilators. They did it on their own.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.